Good morning, John Malanca with the Sacred Plant here, and I just wanted to wish everyone a happy week going forward. I have a little change of scenery here. I went with a little alm for the week, and this is my friend here. So, topic that I want to talk about today is cannabis and storing, and how long does it last? You know, what do we do with it when we receive it? And so, just want to remind everybody, cannabis is a vegetable. It's organic, and just like you would with your normal organic food, you wouldn't leave it on your counter in the direct sunlight. You wouldn't leave it outside on a patio. You wouldn't leave it in your car at extreme heats of heat or extreme cold of cold. The same thing is with your cannabis. Keep it in a dry, safe spot. Too much water, too much moisture can bring on mold. So when you purchase cannabis from a medical dispensary, it normally comes in a glass container. I'm a big fan of glass containers. Sometimes they come in the plastic containers as well. When I say plastic, more of a plastic Ziploc prepackaged bag. It will last in the right storing condition. When I say right storing condition, out of direct sunlight, around 70 degrees max. Should last about a year. So this is, I believe, an eighth, and depending on what type of user you are, sometimes it'll last 1 week, and sometimes it'll last 1 month or longer. So I would say this would be safe for you to use up to a year. Then when it comes to tinctures, sublingual tinctures, they're generally infused in MCT oil, coconut oil, olive oil, grapeseed oil. You know, those are also food items, and so that's why you do have an expiration date. If you kept olive oil out on your counter for more than a year, you know, mold can form. If you do have rosemary in there, which I've seen before, and I've made myself, rosemary, garlic, kind of a dipping oil, mold will form, and you have to throw it away. And the same thing with this. So I'm a fan of sublingual tinctures. Keep them in the refrigerator. A lot of patients ask, what about traveling? And so, just like an open container, I'm not a big fan. I shouldn't say I'm not a big fan. I wouldn't recommend keeping it in your car. Keep it in a igloo. A lot of patients that we work with will keep it in an igloo in the trunk of their car, in the back of their car, with an ice pack in there. I think that's totally safe. Expiration dates, you know, follow them just like you would on food. If you saw something that it went over expiration date, maybe by a day or a week, I think it's completely safe. If I saw an expiration date, which I think we all have something in our kitchen or our refrigerator that has expiration date maybe 2 years ago, hopefully not that bad, but for some reason when you open the refrigerator and clean out your fridge, you're like, how did I miss this? Same thing with cannabis. I wouldn't keep it in there over the expiration date, meaning if it said August 2020, I probably wouldn't use it if it said August 2020 expiration date when it was 2021. In regards to juicing, this one comes up, and I'm a big fan of juicing. I'm a big fan of THCA. If you're able to grow legally or illegally, please be safe in doing so. But juicing, you can get the raw plant, the flowers, the buds, juice them. What Corinne and I used to do, we'd put them in a what do you call it? Ice trays, and we would just juice them, put in ice trays, keep them in the freezer, and then every day we take it out and put in our smoothies. I think that's totally fine to do that. One thing I would be aware of is having frostbite on it. Just as we all have those bags of peas in our freezer, or a bag of frozen fruit that has frostbite on them, and you end up throwing it away. And the same thing with cannabis. You know, you don't want to wreck the cannabinoid profile as well as the terpenes that are on the cannabis plant. When it comes to storing, back to the glass bottle, I am a fan of glass, but I am also a fan of a darker glass, a blue glass. There's some great companies that put out a nice blue glass, so the ultraviolet rays do not come in there and penetrate the cannabis and break them down. Break them down into a different cannabinoid. There, as I mentioned before in our show, there's about 113 different cannabinoids, plus or minus, and I say plus or minus because every day someone another scientist is coming up with, or growers coming up with a different cannabinoid. Perfect example is, this is a high THC product. If I kept it in high heats or for a long period of time, it will convert to CBN, another cannabinoid, which I'm a fan of because it does help with sleep. But if you're treating something that is severe as cancer or other ailments, you want your medicine fresh. You want it to stay potent with the cannabinoids and terpenes in there that you originally purchased from your local dispensary. if you're wondering if your cannabis is still intact and still has all the nutritional values, one, look at the expiration date, but also two, if it's about 6 months old and you're really battling something as severe as cancer, you know, you may want to go, one, I'd store it in a cool area, but also you may want to purchase another product just to make sure everything is up to standards for you as well. If you'd like to test it, hopefully in your area there are testing facilities that you're able to take your cannabis product to and get the whole cannabinoid breakdown on there, not only for cannabinoid breakdown but terpenes, to see if everything stayed where it was when you originally bought it. So anyway, I hope that helps. Look forward to seeing you and more of these videos that I'll be doing, and hopefully I'll bring my friend next time as well. This is John Malanca with the Sacred Plant, and have a blessed day and a blessed week. Bye-bye.